Modding. It's something I talk about a lot despite rarely ever using mods, because even if I don't typically use them, they are an integral part of video games and the communities surrounding them. And a consistent problem with modding in their communities is how little support, or even sometimes hostility, they get from the developers and publishers. It's stupid. So very recently, Activision shut down a highly anticipated mod for Modern Warfare Remastered, right before it released, that would have recreated Modern Warfare 2's multiplayer, but with the remastered graphics, textures, and resolution of the Modern Warfare 2 remastered campaign. Since if you're not aware, Activision remastered only the campaign of Modern Warfare 2 for some reason. So these modders did something that Activision wasn't willing to do, and they did it free, and to play it, you actually had to buy Modern Warfare Remastered. So the modders aren't making any money here, but Activision is, but yet Activision still shut it down. This isn't the first time Activision shut down mods that simply remastered old content that Activision refuses to remaster, which is moronic on multiple levels, and I'll get back to why in a minute.
Patience, fish.
Now jump back just a few weeks, and Fallout London was released. This is probably the most ambitious and successful mod, like, ever, maybe. It's the most successful that I can think of off the top of my head, for sure. It's insanely popular, and for good reason. It's pretty much exactly what the majority of the fan base wanted. New content, new stories, interesting factions, interesting environments, etc. And with a quality largely on par with the full game. So how has Bethesda responded? Well, as far as I know, at the time of making this video, they haven't. They basically refuse to acknowledge it, despite many people buying a new GOG copy of Fallout 4 just to play it, as it's unplayable on console and harder to install the mod through Steam. And this is Bethesda, which, despite all their faults, is a company that's actually more supportive of modders than most other companies. You know the ridiculous success of Skyrim that allowed for them to re-release it like a dozen times? You know why it had the longevity to support that success? Modders. And we all know that Bethesda knows this, which is why they released the creation kit in the first place and integrated mods directly into their games. It's a good move, a great move really, but they're obviously not without their mistakes either. They have a lack of communication with modders and push out updates that often break mods without warning. This often gives the impression that they support modders more because they feel they have to than because they want to. This is supported by the Creation Club, where they release what many people called paid mods. Paid mods is a bit of a naughty word in the modding communities, as they feel that it's content that should really be free, but there is something smart here that you could take from this.
Well, well, well. How the turntables...
Let me introduce you to The Binding of Isaac: Repentance. It's an expansion to The Binding of Isaac, which is largely adapted from a mod, Antibirth. Antibirth was created by a small team and added a considerable amount of content, including 2 new characters, a ton of new enemies, bosses, items, and much more. And the creator of The Binding of Isaac loved this mod so much, he wanted to officially integrate it into the game. And it led to arguably the best expansion for the game. Not to mention, it probably saved him a lot of time and money on making an expansion, and provided a great opportunity to the modding team, who probably never expected to make, any significant amount of money off of this. At best, they were looking at a few donations here and there before this deal. So this is a win for the developer, because it saves them time and money, a win for the modders because, it gives them a job in a way, for something that they want to be doing anyways, and a win for the players because we get new content for games that we like that's, more polished than a mod typically would be. And all it took was for a developer to not be jealous over a mod and realize something that should be abundantly clear by now. Modders understand games. They're passionate about games. They don't care much about money. All that together means they're a perfect resource to game creation, but are extremely underutilized. Going back to Fallout London, this team created something that, if created by Bethesda, would have sold for $25. That's a larger price than many indie games, and they gave it away for free. Bethesda could officially integrate it into the game, slightly expanding it and polishing it and, officially integrating it into the canon like The Binding of Isaac: Repentance did, and release it as a DLC for a fraction of the cost it would have been for them to make another expansion. Many people would opt for the premium integrated version over the mod, which would still probably remain there for free, meaning it would again be a win-win-win situation. Everybody wins. That's wonderful.
The important difference here is
with win-win-win, we all win.
And so, by now, it's probably obvious why what Activision did is stupid. Not only was this mod amazing advertising for their product, you know, for Modern Warfare Remastered, but they literally could have acquired it, done the bare minimum quality testing, and officially released it for a large profit. But instead, they just sent it to the Shadow Realm and destroyed the hard work of the modders, the excitement of the gamers, and much of the goodwill Activision had left. A lose-lose-lose situation.
When we lose big.
It's really unfortunate to see companies continue to treat modders like this, especially after the success of something like The Binding of Isaac Repentance, which really proved what a lot of people have been thinking, which is, why don't these game companies just hire the modders? And I get there is the question of, well, do the modders have the right work ethic and right team skills? And maybe not, but you can always use them as contractors where you basically buy the work that they create. And if they don't create work, well, then you're not out of money. You know, the Modern Warfare 2 Remastered mod was done. I mean, it's almost like these companies are afraid that mods are actually going to make their game less popular somehow, which is the exact opposite. I understand that there's a few people who are like, well, if I have access to mods, why would I ever buy DLC? But given the success of DLCs for Skyrim and Fallout, they're clearly a tiny fraction of the players. So at this point, it's almost like, well, why don't we see every game release with modding tools? Like, I feel like there's really nothing to lose here and a lot to gain for these companies, but they continue to just act extremely stupid when it comes to mods. You know, and some people might think, oh, it's the developers being jealous, but I'm not entirely sure that's the case. Mainly because if the publisher saw it was useful, they would just ignore the developers anyways. The publisher doesn't really care what the developers think most of the time. So, I mean, if that's what they thought would be most profitable, the publishers would do it. So it's an issue that goes up much higher of just not understanding games and game communities. And that probably is just the issue is, you know, company executives not wanting other people to mess with their precious IPs that they own. Not understanding why the IP is popular in the first place, not understanding really anything surrounding it, it seems like. But, you know, that goes into pretty much every problem with games nowadays is these executives not really understanding what they own. You know, I do know with H2M specifically, a lot of people were worried that it would eat into sales for Black Ops 6. But as we've seen with Skyrim, mods didn't eat into the sales of DLC. And so I really don't think they would eat into the sales of Black Ops 6. Especially since, you know, it's remastering something people have already played. You know, it's not going to have the same longevity as it did the first time because people have already played it. Like, I've already done pretty much everything there is to do in Modern Warfare 2, so I'm not gonna like play it every day to try to unlock stuff. If I were to play it, I just, you know, play it every now and then with friends. You know, basically the whole way Call of Duty operates is people wanting to unlock stuff and mess with things they'd never messed with before, and, you know, unlock camos and stuff like that, that if you've already done it in Modern Warfare 2, why would you do it again? But so yeah, that's it for today. Let me know what you think in the comments below. You know, were you looking forward to the H2M mod, and what are your thoughts on other companies doing what, you know, The Binding of Isaac did, where they integrate mods into their game as official content? And if you enjoyed the video, be sure to hit the like button, and if you want to see more, subscribe. But yeah, that's it for today. See you.
Everybody wins.